Everyone in New Jersey loves food. We like cooking it, we like eating it, we even like talking about it. So with a big election coming up, I thought, let's get the people running for governor into the kitchen and get to know them through their favorite foods.
My name is Ras Baraka. I am running for governor of the state of New Jersey. I like the people of our state, the different varieties of food that you can get up and down the state of New Jersey. I like the landscape, like the difference between the cities and the suburban community and the rural areas. You get an opportunity to be in New Jersey and feel like you're in another state, right? When you're traveling up and down the state of New Jersey. And I like the grit of the people in our state, the no nonsense, the let's get it done kind of feel that we have in this state. Being under the shadow of Philly in the southern part and the shadow of New York in the other part, and being the butt of people's jokes a lot of times. And so New Jerseyans kind of, we get kind of insular, the foxhole mentality sometimes, and so we come out swinging. I live in Newark. I've lived there my entire life. My grandparents made their way to Newark from the Carolinas. They were on the train. The train conductor said, next stop, Newark. They thought they said New York. So they got off the train and we've been stuck in Newark ever since. But, I love the city of Newark, deeply. The families, the roots that we have there, the ties, the history, the feel of the city, the comeback that we're experiencing right now. And it's just a good time to be a Newarker. Today on Cooking with Koppell, I'll be making salmon and vegetables, asparagus, a little squash. Hopefully it turns out good.
Okay, I'm here with Mayor Ras Baraka, and I got to tell you, this is a different cooking show because in the notes about what you were going to cook, what it said was, the mayor doesn't do a lot of cooking. He likes eating, and it said he likes eating fish.
Yeah.
So here's what the team did was they gave some stuff to work with, and they said, it's Cooking with Koppell, so you figure it out.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. So I thought we would cook something up together.
It looks delicious.
And it does look good. It's sort of hard for us to mess it up, but we'll try. And then talk while we're going at it.
Yeah,
now it said you're a pescatarian,
like
though. You don't even eat. So how long have you been staying away from meat?
1989.
Oh, a long time.
Long time.
Before it was cool.
Yeah.
So how did that?
In college.
Why? Where did that come from?
I mean, I was going through a lot of stuff in college, trying to figure out who I was, centering my identity around a lot of activism and community work. And I decided I didn't want to eat meat anymore. Mm-hmm. Thought it was just bad and wanted to become, a vegetarian. But I couldn't give up the fish. I gave up chicken. Chicken and fish was the last things on the totem pole to go. And then I got rid of the chicken, but I've never gotten rid of the fish.
But it's just because you can't give up fish. It's not because you draw an ethical distinction between a chicken and a fish.
No,
it's just that you like fish.
I can eat this like this, just like that.
I could also. So I saw a comedian once who said, "I'm not a vegetarian because I'm against eating meat. It's that I hate vegetables and I want to punish them by eating them." So I thought we would start by slicing up the zucchinis and we'll saute them. That seems like a good way to start. So one of the things I'm always interested in is family, and I'm wondering, when you went vegetarian, was that hard on the family? Because meals are family things, and if you're not eating what everybody else eats, that can be a problem. So is that an issue?
It was an issue. I mean, when as a teenager, as a college student, now, my wife is a pescatarian too, so we're all good in that household. But
But what happens if it's Thanksgiving? I mean, Thanksgiving's got to have a turkey.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
She makes turkey for people who come over and things of that nature. Yeah, but we don't eat it. Yeah.
None of that tofu turkey.
No, it's disgusting.
I think that's nasty.
It's very bad.
So you're somebody who, in politics, who I think everybody knows a little bit about your family. Right?
Okay.
Your father was serious political activist, poet, writer, music historian, a lot of different things. But what I was thinking about when I think about your father, he was in politics in a way.
Yeah.
But the word that comes to my mind is counter-authoritarian, right? He was involved in politics, but a lot of it was sort of protest and opposition.
Right.
And now here you are, the mayor of Newark, the very city that arrested your father. What's it like? What's it like to be the authority, particularly when you grew up with a father and a mother, right? Family that was very counter-authoritarian.
Well, it just gives you a different perspective, a different frame of looking at all of it. And, my mother and father helped actually get the first African-American mayor elected in the city of Newark, Ken
Mayor
Gibson.
Yeah,
so they participated heavily in his campaign. Just the distrust of government and all of the things that went along with that in the time that they, came of age and became adults and organized, was very prevalent at that time. And they were in the movement, civil rights movement, the cultural nationalist movement, the literary movement, in and around this area. So, I mean, none of that really had anything directly to do with running for office.
Right.
So, when I ran for office, people they were very, very, very supportive. When I ran for mayor, though, my father didn't want me to do it, but when he passed away, he was in the hospital in Beth Israel passing out my literature to people, to people who couldn't vote for me.
So he came around, I guess.
Well, I'm his son. He's going to help me.
Yeah. Why wasn't he enthusiastic when you got started?
Well, I think he knows what it entails, and how crazy things can get, at the same time. So, but yeah, he knows what comes with it, and didn't really want that, for me or my family, and thought that it could be a dangerous notion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially in the time that he was really involved, it was dangerous.
Yeah,
it was very dangerous.
Yeah.
So, people were, and still are now, and it's getting back to that, being attacked because of their beliefs or what they feel and think.
So was your family in Newark for multiple generations, or?
Yes. Yep. About almost 90 to 100 years in Newark. Yep, they came up here from the South.
Like so many, right?
The Carolinas mostly, and found their way to the city of Newark, and been there ever since.
I'm gonna put my zucchini in here. I don't know if you wanna.
Put a little.
I'm just gonna put some olive oil and some salt and pepper, I think, in this. I don't think it needs much more.
Can I do it like the dude?
You've got a flair for the dramatic. So you might have missed your calling. You can do more than eat.
I'm just following my instincts here, brother.
Well, you've got good instincts. But you didn't immediately jump into politics. So I gotta call it out because we are, after all, Montclair Normal School. So we were created to train teachers. So I'm always excited when I've got somebody who followed the teaching path. So how did you go down that road to decide to become a teacher?
Oh wow! I went to Howard University, and at the school, they brought a speaker in. His name was Naeem Akbar, I believe the name was. No, Jawaza Kajufu, excuse me. And he had a book, and it was talking about black boys in the 5th grade, and how that's when we begin to fall behind. Which one of these things I use here, or this one?
Whatever. I use the tongs. There you go.
And that they needed more male role models in elementary school and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I made a decision then that I would come back and do that. And I was a middle school teacher for a long period of time before I became a vice principal and a principal.
So So you went into administration from doing the teaching. Why'd you do that? What made you become a vice principal?
Well, it just happened organically, actually. I was doing a lot of paperwork for the principal who didn't have a vice principal at the time.
Okay.
And helping her out and staying after school and doing a lot of different things. And eventually I took the test. I did to become an administrator. I went further back to school.
Yeah.
So I can get my education credits, my master's degree, so I can do that. And I became a vice principal as a result. Yeah.
So I want to figure out how that. I can see how there's a line from that to then going into political office. But let's finish up the zucchini we'll take a break. Then we'll come back and we'll do the fish.
Let's do it.
And then we'll be ready to have a delicious meal. So we'll be right back after the break.
Hawk Plus, the first student-run streaming service in the nation. The place to go for all things Montclair State University. Student films.
Is it really you?
News.
We start this episode with some breaking news on campus.
Sports.
Montclair State men's basketball has been a road this season.
Exclusive talk shows, alum interviews, and live events. Student-produced and student-run. Hawk Plus. It's Montclair, streaming live and on demand.
At Montclair State University, we don't just create opportunities, we transform lives and strengthen communities. Here, you'll learn by doing, guided by expert faculty who are advancing research and deepening our understanding of the world in education, healthcare, psychology, science, criminal justice, business, and technology. Our location in the heart of the dynamic New York-New Jersey region offers access to internships and careers, from Wall Street to Broadway, from startups to Fortune 100 companies. Montclair graduates go far. Alumni are leaders across industries, driving progress in their companies and communities. At Montclair, we believe in your future and make it possible with an education that's both top tier and affordable. Join a university that values you, supports you, and prepares you to soar.
Okay, the zucchini looks good. I think we should we'll put it on a plate and then we'll turn to doing the fish. So how many years were in the school setting before you jumped into the political stuff?
Well, actually, I was doing both for a while.
Okay.
You know, I ran for mayor when I was 24. I was still a teacher.
I know your history. Like, yeah, you got into politics at the ripe old age of 24. You said I should be mayor of the city.
Right, right. You know, I thought I was.
You were really lacking in confidence. That's been your problem, I think.
That's right. That's right.
So what made you think I'm ready to be mayor? I've been doing this for.
I have absolutely no idea, man. I was 24 and I just did it. You know, you feel like you're invincible in them years.
Yeah.
Man, that you could do whatever you want to do. Thank God.
There's something good about that.
Yeah, it is. You don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Thank God. That's like I said. My son used to think he was Spider-Man. I wanted him to keep that. You know what I mean? I used to tell people I want him to always think he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a little bit of butter in to cook with the fish in with the oil. I think that'll be good. I think that'll be good. But before I do that, I thought it would be good if we cooked some of these tomatoes and put them in before the fish. I'm gonna cut mine in half. I'm not trying to impose my.
Yeah, you are.
But you can do your thing. You be you.
Yeah, you cut your zucchini pretty big there.
I like a thick zucchini.
I was thinking about those zucchini chips that I get in the in the restaurants, you know, little Mediterranean restaurants.
So I'm gonna put some salt and pepper. I'm gonna use your technique, by the way. So it's better when you drop it from up high. So what do you think is the advantage of the cocky 24-year-old who just says I'm gonna do it? Because I think I agree with you that there's something powerful about that feeling.
Yeah, I think the reality is, you know, if you don't take the shot, you'll never make it. And when you get older, you know, the older you get, the more responsibilities you have. You know, you feel like, and you have a lot of things to lose.
Yeah.
And you start thinking about those things, so you never even try to experience or do the things that will take you to another level.
Right.
So you lose out a lot of times because you worried a lot of worry about where you are now and not trying to lose your footing.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you throw caution to the wind, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. So so aside from I like your way of applying it to your son, that you want him to always be Spider-Man.
That's right.
But how do you make young people feel that sense of power? Because I think that's a balance, right? You want people to get experience and get ready, but you also want them to feel power. How do you think we should encourage that?
You got to teach people that failure is a part of the process, that you're going to fall down probably multiple times.
Yeah.
The issue is not falling down, it's the ability to get back up.
Right.
Or you don't have to know everything, right? In fact, the journey is about learning more. You don't have to know everything, right? And I think people are waiting till they are perfect to do the things that they need to do.
Yeah.
But that'll never happen. If you wait for that, you'll never do it, right?
I totally agree. So I always think it's funny because I think there's a bum rap on young people that they're arrogant and they graduate and they want to be in the C-suite.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit. I mean, I don't think that that's completely made up.
Right.
But I'd rather have that
Right.
than the feeling, oh, I can't
do this.
I can't do it. I'm not ready. And that cockiness. That's we need that too. You want them to still be humble enough that they know they have to learn. But
my son used to fake shoot webs at me like shh, and I would get all tangled up and fall down on the ground. Or he come and push me and I fall like he actually can do it.
Does he still want to be Spider-Man?
He still got the Spider-Man clothes, the sneakers, the book bag, the shirts. Like
now, people need to I want to be clear. Like your son is not 35 walking around in his Spider-Man suit.
No.
Because
he's 5.
Because
he's 5.
Because that's an important for the viewers at home.
He's I just hope he's not just a fan now. You know? Yeah.
All right. I think we can put our fish in. This is going to be quick though. I like it barely cooked. I don't know about you.
Well, we could have just had sushi.
I like. It should still be kind of pink inside though. We're going to do it quick. Sushi's okay with me.
I love sushi, brother. I like fishing too, so I like to go fishing. I went fishing in Jersey.
Where do you fish?
And got some tuna.
Like ocean fishing, yeah. And
well, we start like in the southern part of Jersey and you go all the way out. You can actually do that from Perth Amboy as well. But
so what do you catch?
Most of the time you just you catch some bass, but if you go further out, you could get a tuna.
You can get a tuna, yeah.
And I went one time and got a tuna, a small one, and we ate it.
Out on the water?
Right there. Raw.
That's fresh fish.
Cut it.
That is sushi.
Mine is ready.
All right. Here we go. I can hold it for you.
Thank you.
Yours is sushi, by the way.
Yeah, let me put
I just want you to realize
a little longer.
You've got some lightly seared sushi going on there.
This one is good. This one is good.
All right.
The tomatoes in there that's a recipe or?
It's a recipe that I made up 3 minutes ago.
Okay.
But cooked tomatoes are good, and I know that the acid of the tomatoes will also add a little bit of zing to the fish, and that'll be good. So I think I'm gonna plate mine. Honestly, it also just looks good.
It does look good. I'm ready.
All right. So that was pretty good. All right. So let's plate this up nicely. We'll have a little zucchini on the plate. We'll make it look pretty, and then we'll sit down and give it a shot.
Let's do it.
Yours has a deconstructed look to it.
I know.
All right, we'll be right back, and we'll eat fish with the mayor.
At Montclair State University, we don't just create opportunities, we transform lives and strengthen communities. Here, you'll learn by doing, guided by expert faculty who are advancing research and deepening our understanding of the world in education, healthcare, psychology, science, criminal justice, business, and technology. Our location in the heart of the dynamic New York, New Jersey region offers access to internships and careers, from Wall Street to Broadway, from startups to Fortune 100 companies. Montclair graduates go far. Alumni are leaders across industries, driving progress in their companies and communities. At Montclair, we believe in your future and make it possible with an education that's both top tier and affordable. Join a university that values you, supports you, and prepares you to soar.
Hawk Plus, the first student-run streaming service in the nation. The place to go for all things Montclair State University. Student films,
Is it really you?
news,
We start this episode with some breaking news on campus.
Montclair
sports,
State men's basketball has been a road this season.
exclusive talk shows, alum interviews, and live events. Student-produced and student-run. Hawk Plus, it's Montclair, streaming live and on demand.
All right, with a little bit of an assist from the chef who prettied up our plates a little
Right,
bit.
right.
That was pretty good for an impromptu,
Yeah, it looks great.
impromptu fish meal. So I'm gonna put a little lemon squeeze on there.
As well. As well.
So when you're not out catching big tuna off the coast, what do you do to relax? You thumbs up? I saw that.
Yeah. I go to the studio and record.
Yeah.
With Jerry Wonder in New York, who is one of the producers, was the main producer for the Fugees.
Right.
And so I do that, or
So I know you've done like
hang out with my
You've
kids.
done spoken
Yeah.
word on, but are you also a musician?
no. I played the trumpet in high school. I don't know if I was good at it, but I played it.
You had enthusiasm.
Actually, it was the cornet. But yeah, at University High School, I was in the band. Fun times.
So I actually I got to hear you speak to a group of Montclair students not that long ago, and it made me think about how important it is to have young people interested in politics, interested in public engagement, and you delivered that message.
Yeah.
How do you think you get younger folks interested in politics? You got the bug early on, partially because it was all around you as you grew up, but it's hard. I think a lot of people are kind of negative about politics these days, and they're interested in public service, I think, but not necessarily politics. How do you get through the layers?
Well, I think people have the definition of politics based on what they see, all of the stuff that's the rancor and the noise that's happening on TV and back and forth on the internet and social media. So people get turned off from it and all of the negativity that's associated with it. But I think very rarely do we get to have real discussions with young people about civics and history and what politics really is and what it really means. Having the discussion I had here, the discussions like that, young people really get deep into questions because they really want to know. They're very interested in it. Like they want to know the information. Whereas when you're in other places, people are just really doing the politics of it. Trying to, because they're really on one side or the other side. So they're trying to find out what your position is on specific things, as opposed to young people who are really trying to find out what's going on.
Right.
How do you fix specific problems?
Right.
Right. Why is this happening and not this? Right.
Yeah.
And so those are different kinds of discussions as opposed to the ones you have in the forums that we go to, which is usually trying to categorize you into one place or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But the students are more open-minded about
Right.
learning. Yeah, I've been really impressed, particularly with Montclair students are really, really eager to learn, whether you're talking about the stuff in the classroom or the politics stuff. By the way, everybody working on this show is an alumnus of our program. So behind every camera, producers, directors, everybody here is a graduate of the communications program at Montclair State University.
That's great.
And if people come in here just eager to get everything out of it, and then they go off to careers in the business, which is
That's pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's a reflection of the attitude of the students. Like they come here ready to soak it all up. So one of the things I've always found is that local politics is more attractive to young people than the national stuff.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they can make a difference on a local level. And I'm wondering if that's partially why you've been so involved in Newark stuff. I realize now you're running for governor. Obviously, it's different.
Yeah.
But is that do you see that reward because it's your hometown?
Absolutely. And I wouldn't even, when I was younger, I wouldn't have even imagined that I would be running for governor. It would not have been in my to-do list, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was 25, 26, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be the governor of the state of New Jersey. No. When I was in college, I definitely wasn't saying I was gonna be the governor of the state of New Jersey. You know, I was more interested in, like you said, community politics and, you know, changing people's relationship to government, at least, and improving people's lives in my city. But definitely not the governor of the state. And, you know, things just happen.
Did you want to be Spider-Man?
Close to it. I just, you know, I you know, try my best to affect what was going on in my immediate surrounding in my area, try to do my part. I was a writer. I was interested in music. I was interested in writing, and I was a journalist for the Source magazine.
Yeah.
You know, it was a hip hop politics magazine at the time. I was doing those kinds of things and substitute teaching at the same time, right? And doing community work, teaching kids on Saturdays and doing food and clothing drives and feeding the homeless. That's what I was into in my early 20s. And
do you think
then I decided I had to make some money.
Well, there's that. Yeah, there is that. Did you think like, what if I'd gone down the writing music route?
All the time.
What do you think? What do you think you would have? What do you think you would have been like if you had gone that way?
I mean, you know, I think I would be traveling all the time and going to universities and different things, reading poetry, writing books, doing, you know, book tours that I see some of my friends doing, like Kevin Powell, Jelani Cobb. These people that I see that are doing stuff are my contemporaries, of friends that I grew up with.
Right.
You know, Jelani, who's a huge author and writer and journalist now, is, you know, we were in college together. Kevin Powell, who's authored many books now, who's a writer himself. We used to travel around the country reading poetry. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a way of making a difference too, right? Because they're raising interesting ideas. They're provoking people to think. So
it absolutely is. Then I decided to go full into teaching, full on into it, become a teacher. And I think that changed the trajectory right there. Because now you plan it, and you're working with young people that have issues that make it difficult for them to engage in the curriculum in school.
Right.
Food and clothing and issues that's going on in your neighborhood.
It starts to connect to the broader set of issues.
Right. That's exactly what happened, and it kind of drives you into that space, and it did. You know, I was the councilman and the principal for a long time.
Right.
At the same time, you know.
And saw the connection between the two jobs.
Yep.
Well, we now know that you had another third path, that you could have been a highly successful chef, influencing people by making delicious food. So I appreciate that you're willing to explore that part of your
no problem.
Your skill set. It was really it was a pleasure to get to sit down together and get to eat, but also to experiment a little bit with our fish recipe, which we can now call salmon baraka, I think. What this
I'm gonna make this again.
This dish is now called salmon baraka.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell people I know how to cook and make this.
That's it. That's it. So the next time you go on a cooking show, you'll have an answer as to what you're gonna make.
Right.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Thanks
Thank
again
you.
for
No
coming
problem,
on.
man.
It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.